My dad was 6'6", my mother 5'11". I've always told people I was tall before they ever thought about having me. I was literally 6 feet tall in the 6th grade. My sport became basketball. That culminated in the opportunity to go to SMU. I was offered a basketball scholarship in 1968. We won the Southwest Conference Championship my senior year at SMU, which was an absolute thrill. And then I got a full tuition fellowship to attend graduate school. I had a wonderful experience at SMU, both academically and athletically. I got my MBA, decided to go into the banking business, joined what at the time was the largest bank in Texas called Republic National Bank, moved into the bank's oil and gas lending department. I learned a lot along the way. Decided in 1980 to launch my first entrepreneurial endeavor, which is a company called Mays Exploration. When we started Mays in 1980, oil prices were at $40 a barrel. Fast forward to 1986, 87, oil's less than $10. Not a great time to sell a business, but we made a lot of great relationships and contacts in the oil and gas industry. We had familiarity with these large institutional investors who were interested in investing in oil and gas. So the key was trying to put those pieces of the puzzle together. And we did that, launched EnCap in early '88. The business plan was to be a conduit between oil and gas opportunity and institutional capital. We would provide the seed capital, if you will, for early stage or startup oil and gas companies. Our first fund was $25 million with 3 LPs. The fund size grew to $100 million and then $500 million and then $1 billion. And then our last fund, which we raised 6-7 years ago, was $7 billion with 350 institutional investors. And EnCap at that time became one of the 10 largest private equity firms in the world.
David Miller was a success because he had the capacity to analyze businesses in a very thorough way. He's a strategic thinker who figured out the environment in which he was going to invest and did a pretty good job of predicting where it was headed. He's a visionary in some ways.
Gary Peterson, one of the 4 founders of EnCap, said this about David. It was his idea, it was his business plan, and without David, EnCap would not exist today.
We started EnCap with the 4 founding partners. For many, many years, we each owned 25% of the business, and we jointly managed and led the business. To some extent, as I look back, there's a bit of a link to my athletic experience and being part of a team.
David Miller believes in the notion that to whom much is given, much is required.
David's idea is to give back to others, especially SMU, who have helped make him successful.
The 2 areas where Carol and I have really focused our giving had been the Cox School of Business and athletics. We've recently been invited to join the ACC, which is a transformational opportunity for SMU. I was actively involved in that effort.
Certainly without David's leadership, SMU would not be in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
We asked David to join the board of the Bush Center because of his connections with SMU and his interest in public policy. We were interested, of course, finding people who, A, cared about SMU and cared about Dallas. We want to have programs that make sense and that enhance the intellectual capacities of our community, and David Miller is the perfect fit.
We have been so excited about the fact that the Bushes chose to come back to Dallas and have that facility situated on the SMU campus. Actually is, we think, just a huge asset for not only for SMU, but the city of Dallas and the state of Texas. Carolyn is a graduate of Hendrix College in Arkansas. She serves on the board there. You know, we're active supporters of UT Southwestern, Methodist Hospital here, Children's Hospital. I've been very involved with Goodwill and the Salvation Army.
I really admire David. You can't put him in a box. He's not easily defined in simple words.
I know David takes a great deal of pride from being the founder of EnCap. Certainly the oil and gas business is a relationship business. Nobody has been more successful at developing relationships than David Miller.